did the microphone check, camera check, and then was just waiting up for a link. So sorry for the delay
Oh,
here.
no problem. No problem at all. I appreciate the opportunity to chat with you today. We're excited about Kite Runner coming to Proctors.
Oh, I'm looking forward to being there. Can't wait.
It's been a few years since I read the book, and I have not seen the stage show yet. So I'm excited to find out. I love the book. My wife and I both, she was the one that read it first, and it's been a few years. And she said, Steve, you have to read this book. It's absolutely amazing. And then when I heard that they were making it into a Broadway show, I thought, my gosh, how are they going to do that? Well, tell us, how did they do that?
Oh wow! Let's go back all the way to 2000. I want to say 2006 or even 2005. I actually went to a book signing of the author Khalid Hosseini,
Wow.
and showed up to UC Irvine, stood in line to get my book signed, and I was standing there and finally approached him. I was the last book signer, and I walked up and he looks up at me and he says, Salar. And I was like, wait, you know me? And he's like, yeah, you're Salar Nader, the tabla player. You performed at my engagement in 1994. So
Wow.
we hit it off. He said, I have a VHS tape. Let's go back in time now. VHS or DVD of the performance. And yep, you were there. Your family was there. And then you got on the tablas, played a couple solos, and then you went back outside and played basketball with the kids. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. So I asked him at that book signing, I said, will there be an adaptation? Will there be any creative happening with the book? Like, will it be adapted into a film or a play? And he said, well, I'm speaking to playwright, scriptwriter at the time, Matthew Spangler at San Jose State University. And he's planning on doing a workshop of the play in a year or two. So how about I connect you with him? So we sat down with like 400 or 500 pages of the first draft of script with Matt Spangler, and we basically sat there page by page and went through and started inserting music and tabla music. This is where a birthday song would go. This is where the traditional wedding song of Afghanistan would go. And we started with 300-400 pages and it went down to 200, then one something. And so you take this book, and this is Matt Spangler territory, which can take a while to read, and you can condense it down to a 2.5 hour play that speaks to Matt's incredible artistry. And so we workshopped it at San Jose State University for about I want to say a month. And then the following year, we had the world premiere at San Jose Repertory Theater in San Jose, California.
Wow.
And then we went on to Actors Theater, Louisville, Arizona, Canada, you name it. And then finally, the Broadway premiere with the UK production and director Giles Croft. And so, that was kind of the journey of, taking this book and condensing it down into a play that will, obviously hold an audience's attention. It has everything in there for everyone. There's obviously sadness, a lot of emotions, an emotional roller coaster you go through, moments of laughter, comedic celebrations, just the immigration journey, a nice wedding party, birthday parties, and you get to see how a birthday party would take place in Kabul in the 1970s. The attire Baba would wear, his best friend Raim Khan and business partner, and so you get a glimpse to a golden period of Afghanistan before the Russian invasion. Now I can go on, and I don't want to ruin the story for your audience members, but yeah, I'm there on stage with my instruments, and I open the show with about a 10 to 15 minute tabla overture, which is a tabla solo. And then from the overture, I get into ready to start out in the 70s, and I provide kind of a sonic landscape for the rhythms and the melodies you would have heard in Afghanistan, is particularly Kabul, but that depict the different ethnicities in Afghanistan. So you have Hazara style rhythms, Pashto rhythms, Kabuli rhythms, Katagani rhythms, Herati rhythms, which are the style of rhythms that happened in the province that our author was born. So I tried to pay homage to a lot of the musicians who, right now, during the music ban in Afghanistan, aren't able to practice their instrument. I mean, there's musicians right now who have fled the country since 2021, and those who weren't able to flee the country have been burying their instruments in
Wow.
their yard. So because some of these instruments have been passed down from great grandfather to son, so these are, inheritance in the form of musical instrument. And so I actually just received one of those instruments. It's a 100-year-old dolak
Wow.
that arrived last week in San Jose, and I started using it here in Arizona, and I can't wait to bring it to Schenectady.
Wow. The personal connection for you, what is it like bringing that to the stage every night? Does every night have a different personal connection, or is it just the sharing of your culture and of the show? What's that like for you?
Beautiful question. I actually mentioned this last night also. The connection I have to the repertoire in the play, because I am Afghan and I'm
Mhm.
also American. I grew up in California. I basically, on a daily basis, I receive messages on Facebook Messenger from first cousins. So my dad has 9 brothers and 6 sisters who are still inside of Afghanistan. They never left. And they're all on Facebook. So how do we connect? We connect with a picture.
Mhm.
This is my nephew. This is my newborn. So and yesterday I popped open Facebook, and it said that under Afghan news, it said that Facebook would be banned indefinitely in Afghanistan in the coming months. And so, yes, that absolutely does affect the way I perform out on stage. Whatever feeling that creates in me, that connected connection and longing for the homeland, it's there because I'll walk into my parents' home in Walnut Creek, California, and I'll see that they're affected by the current news and updates that take place. So even though we finished this run on June 30th, um, the run isn't over for me because I'm walking in Afghan shoes no matter what, and I have this connection to my people. And so each night is a little different depending on what's happening back home, and um, what hopefully something good that I've heard, something positive, something in between, or something negative. I mean, we're all yearning and hoping for music to be
Mhm.
allowed, for sculpting to be allowed, for girls to be let back into school, women to be allowed back into the workforce. And so we're just sitting on edge, and we're hoping that after 40 years of constant struggle and warfare and Russian invasion, civil war, and just um, constant constant war. We just hope and pray that the Afghan people living within Afghanistan have a chance to just live a decent life and live a life with basic necessities. A roof over their head, a meal on their table, and with just calmness and safety like we do here.
I think that was one thing that resonated with me in the book, having not really known anything about the Afghan culture, was how similar people are no matter where they are in the world. They're celebrating birthdays, they're celebrating weddings, they're having, kite battles, which, you could equate to American whatever, baseball, but football, whatever,
Yeah,
kids just playing and being joyful.
yeah.
And I think the book really made that connection. And I'm sure the stage production does the same thing.
Stage production's incredible, and I'm not just saying it because I'm in it. We have an amazing cast and creative and crew on the scene, behind the scenes, and they will really transport you into every space and environment that we describe in the play. And like you said, to kind of echo that same sentiment with football and baseball, I actually played baseball for 17 years. I played catcher and shortstop, and then
Nice.
it was like you got to decide, are you going to play, tabla going forwards or baseball? And I obviously chose tabla, but I absolutely love the game. And I call our Amir, who's out there on stage narrating and within scenes, our quarterback. So I call him our Joe Montana to the Jerry Rice right here.
Nice.
So
And in your instrument, the tabla is really like another character on stage, even though there isn't a specific character, but it is kind of like a character, right?
it absolutely is. It absolutely is. It's there. Someone mentioned the other night that it sounds like I'm the witness that's literally witnessing everything between the audience and the cast. And then also the tabla is a tabla, dolak, dol, dola pagmoni. These are the various instruments I use. They're talking drums. So these drums were used years ago to communicate within villages, provinces, incoming guests or invaders. Or so um, it's commenting on everything that's happening. And I just watched the film Dune 2, and the soundscape, there's so much heavy drumming happening in that, and it really transports you there, and it almost becomes another voice in the film. And I would say that would be kind of a really close connection to what I'm trying to create on the stage for our actors and team, and also for the audience. So it's there as a voice, as another character, but it's not stumbling over the dialogue, and it's not pulling the audience's ear. It's almost like the vehicle that we all get to kind of travel in and traverse in.
I know some people will think of as musicians will think of like drums as a punctuation at times and that type of thing. And you're the tabla and the way you play, and I've watched videos of you playing, it is more like you're adding to the texture of it, not just a here's an exclamation point or here's something to show this is a dramatic part so you know what it is, right?
Absolutely. So the tabla, it has its own repertoire there, and it has its own language and syllables. And and on the tabla, you can actually play melodies on the right hand drum, and so you have about 2 octaves that you can play with. And then all the other smaller tablas can be tuned to different pitches. So I can basically play, a few different colors, a few different colored kites, and create that soundscape. And they have longer resonating tones, so it's not just a staccato sound that you hear with
Hmm.
the percussion instrument. It's you get these longer tones that almost sound like sonic beds that are there for sometimes 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds at a time. And let's say a transition can be 30 seconds long, so you're hearing these different pads, and you're just floating with the instrument. Antonio Sanchez is an incredible jazz drummer, and he wrote the score to Bird, and I think won an Oscar for it. And he's a drummer, and so there's a lot of incredible drummers out there doing amazing things. Stuart Copeland for the Police, he's writing like operas now, and Phil Collins, another drummer, Peter Gabriel. I mean, I can go on and on about the drummers who are getting some love these days, who have the ability to take their instrument and think outside of the box.
Hmm. Yeah, I know. And like speaking of music, like Paul Simon was one of those that, went to different, found world music and pulled it into, his Americanized music and found different beats and things to kind of expand the musical repertoire of his music.
One of my mentors is Jamie Haddad, who's Paul Simon's drummer
Oh,
and
wow.
percussionist, and I was just talking to him yesterday. He's invited us, myself and another Afghan artist, to Oberlin College next fall for giving workshops, and he helped create all of those rhythmic, uh, sessions,
Sure.
and just incredible grooves that you hear on all the Paul Simon records. So Jamie was a part of Paul Simon's band for the last 25 years, and he's a mentor. So it's funny you mentioned that.
That's amazing. That'll be an amazing experience for you.
Yep,
Well,
absolutely.
we are so looking forward to the show. If there are people that are thinking maybe they've read the book, maybe they love the book, maybe why should they come see this at Proctor's May 1st and 2nd?
I would say for everybody who's actually a fan of the book and even hasn't read the book, I met some people last night who haven't even read the book, haven't seen the film. I think it's a good time to come in and be carried by a story that, like you said, has elements of everyday life, everyday culture, your wedding, your birthday, your just kite fighting, playing cricket, baseball, what have you. There's something in there for every single person. And I think the fact that it's a story about a country that from 2001 through to 2021, the us, the United States, were connected to for 2 decades. It'll give our audiences here in America a glimpse, a completely new perspective into the Afghan people, and perhaps create a more open dialogue, a more open heart and mind to the people, because you'll get to see them represented through their authentic selves, as opposed to, well, this is this war that's happening in this country, and we happen to be there for security purposes, for defense purposes. You get to know, go inside and experience everything, and have a 360-degree view of what life was like for these people. And so it's an incredible show. I've seen standing ovations for the last, I would say, hundreds. I did 150 shows on Broadway, and now we're on our 25th show or so on the tour. Every single night, I've listened to audience laugh, cry, wipe their tears, and jump to their feet when we finish the show. So I hope if you're out there and you see the ad, and you're kind of iffy, or you're on edge, and you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to feel that way. I want a happy ending. Yeah, absolutely. But sad stories make good books, and good stories and good plays. And especially if something that can enlighten us as just a universally connected family, globally connected family, I would say come out, get your ticks before they're not left anymore. And I'd love to perform for you.
Beautifully said. Thank you for spending the time with us. We look forward to it.
Pleasure.
Proctors May 1st and 2nd on the main stage. Cannot wait to see the show. Thank you for taking the time.
Absolutely, my pleasure. You have a great day, and I look forward to meeting you there.
Absolutely. Thank you so
All right.
much. Have a good rest of your day.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.